This video is brought to you by
Cool Green Clothing. We done gone worldwide, and we coming straight out of Baltimore. And if you in town, pull up on us. We're on the block with it at 215 West Saratoga Street. And if you're not in town, go online right now at coolgreenclothing.com and make your purchase. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you ain't cool and getting the green, you're in the way. And that's just basic.
What's going on, YouTube, fam? It's your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of the Baltimore Way, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For my day one fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. With that being said, let's get right into the story. When people decide to get into a relationship, we can only hope everything the other person is telling us about themselves is truthful and real. Of course, nobody will lead off and say, yeah, I'm a cheater, I'm insecure, I have a temper problem, and I'm crazy and possessive. So in the beginning, when everybody is on their best behavior, you just have to go with the flow. But the more and more you get to know your partner, the more is revealed. And you see exactly what you signed up for. Some people see signs and red flags early on and have learned from past mistakes in relationships and say to themselves like, nah, I'm not dealing with a toxic situation again. But others are a lot more understanding and give people the benefit of the doubt, even if they know the relationship is not right and their partner has messed up traits about them. But the more time that passes, the more some people begin to accept the drama, the arguing back and forth, the fighting as the norm. And if kids come into the picture, now it's a whole nother story. There's a lot of people out here right now that love their child or children, but hate the person who they conceived them with. Some to the point they don't even try to co-parent. They go straight to the courts, get child support orders, and go on about their life without the other parent being involved at all. But for the ones who believe a child should know both of their parents, even though they are not together anymore, depending on who you are dealing with co-parenting, things can get tricky real fast. And on this episode of the Baltimore Way, we'll be discussing the case of how a custody exchange turned into a man being Baltimore's most wanted. Back in the summer of 2023, a 41-year-old woman, who we will call Ted for the sake of the story, was navigating life in Baltimore. She was a mother and worked hard to provide. She had a young child, but wasn't in a relationship with the baby's father, but they still tried to co-parent. The man was, at the time, 37-year-old Daryl Davis. Daryl had been in a little bit of trouble in the past, a few run-ins with police, but him and Ted was trying to set a positive example for their child. And even though they sometimes beef with each other, they both wanted the best for the baby. Daryl lived over west in the Mondawmin area of the city, in the New Shiloh Village apartments, and Ted will often come over and bring the baby by to drop them off. In June 2023, it was no different. She dropped the baby off and headed to work. The mother and father had been going back and forth a lot more lately though, and wasn't seeing eye to eye. She pulled up on the early morning in June to pick the baby back up, and later that day, Ted walked in Sinai Hospital in a panic, suffering from a gunshot wound. Hospital staff asked her what happened. She stated she went to pick up her child from her baby father, but while sitting in the car, shots went off. She say after the commotion, she realized she was hit, then drove herself to the hospital. With cameras all around the building and hearing Ted explain the situation, as police listened to the story in the hospital, they felt she was not telling the full truth and decided to investigate the situation themselves. They went to the apartment building and got surveillance footage that showed Ted pull up to the apartments around about 8:30 a.m. A man come out with a baby and a stroller with bags in his hand. He walked up to the car. After a brief conversation, he got aggressive, started throwing the bags at her and putting hands on her, before then upping a gun and letting off a shot. She drove off in a panic. When confronted with the information, she still wouldn't tell police who shot her. But people in the building knew exactly who the man was in the video. Ted's baby father, Daryl. Police realized Daryl was already on the run and had warrants out for his arrest, but he was MIA, now being accused of shooting his baby mother in front of their child during the custody exchange. Fortunately, Ted's injuries were not serious, and even though her baby father attempted to take her life, she still was covering up for the man. But police told her video doesn't lie. With the shooting happening in broad daylight in front of a building with hundreds of residents, that was enough to land Daryl on Baltimore's most wanted. He would stay one step ahead of the police for months, but he would slip up in October of that year. He was arrested, taken into custody, charged with first-degree assault, attempted hit, and using a firearm in commission of a violent crime. On top of the other charges he was already on the run for before the shooting. Daryl never stated why he shot Ted. As the case made its way to court though, he copped out in exchange for a lighter sentence. He pleaded guilty to the assault and gun charge as the attempt was dropped. He got a good deal, only 8 years in prison and to pay restitution. Fortunately in this case, no one lost their life. I thought it was interesting though, to see even after Daryl shot Ted, she wouldn't tell what happened to her or tell the police who did it. I'm not sure if she was trying to keep the street code, had Stockholm syndrome, or just didn't want her baby father to go to prison. Either way, she was lucky she only was shot in the arm. As far as Daryl, trust me, I get it. Having frustration, maybe even hate towards your baby mother. But to up a gun in front of your child and shoot is a little different from her just getting on your nerves. For whatever reason, he was trying to get her gun. But y'all let me know what y'all think about the situation. And if you have kids, how is your relationship with the other parent? Have y'all ever gotten to the point of fighting, beefing, or something like this happening? Or do y'all co-parent just fine? Let me know your experiences in the comments. Yeah, man, crazy story. Like I said, fortunately in this situation, nobody lost their life. But I just wanted to do this story because it's crazy how a simple situation like a custody exchange can turn into something like this. If you're not careful, you don't know who you're dealing with when having kids, and you don't know how far they willing to go. But I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. Y'all already know it's all love, fam. It's another episode of the Baltimore Way. It's your boy Tony 2 times. I'm out. Yo, what's the word, fam? We got a deal for you so you can get your fashion right this summer to get 10% off your purchase at Cool Green Clothing. All you got to do is click the link in the comments. I'm going to pin it right there for you. Add your items for purchase in the cart. Before you complete your order, type in code 2x10TV to get 10% off your purchase. Again, be sure to tap that link because without that, you can't get your discount. And that's code 2TIMESTV10. We appreciate your love and support.